Controversial address to Congress that put him at odds with the White House. The Prime Minister of Israel is seeking to downplay the notion of a personal dispute with President Obama. Here's Benjamin Netanyahu at the AIPAC conference earlier today.
Never has so much been written about a speech that hasn't been given. My speech is not intended to show any disrespect to President Obama or the esteemed office that he holds. I have great respect for both. The last thing that I would want is for Israel to become a partisan issue. Israel has always been a bipartisan issue. Israel should always remain a bipartisan issue.
But the Prime Minister also said he won't remain silent over a deal with Iran that he says could threaten the very survival of his country.
America lives in one of the world's safest neighborhoods. Israel lives in the world's most dangerous neighborhood. American leaders worry about the security of their country. Israeli leaders worry about the survival of their country. You know, I think that encapsulates the difference.
And let's talk about that first. So, Greg, on the substance of this, setting aside the politics leading up to it on both sides, the substance of this is that the Americans are been engaged with Iran. They're walking up to this deal, and there is extreme alarm, not only in Israel, but in many places, many people across this country who are alarmed that this is a very bad deal that now is going to allow Iran in the future to get a nuclear weapon.
I don't blame Netanyahu for being, this is his mortal enemy. It brings up this issue of what is a normal leader. A normal leader generally seeks like-minded leaders who share your beliefs. They're called allies. Obama, in his belief system, does the reverse. He looks for people that hates him, and he goes, let's go bowling. I want to go hang out. I want to go talk to Iran. And who does the president listen to? He's not listening to his allies. He's listening more to Valerie Jarrett. This is her show. Maybe she's like the high school drama teacher, and Iran is her Pippin. And this is a big deal. This is a big deal. But in the meantime, we've got a legitimately concerned leader, and we have a media who thinks his speech is bad, but the potential for a nuclear Iran is less bad. That seems backward to me. It's like being concerned over crabgrass when you have poisonous mushrooms.
I think that's the real point here, which is if you strip away the politics.
Yeah, I blathered.
That the substance of it is of concern. So much concern, Eric, that the AIPAC conference was the largest ever. They had 16,000 attendees. That included 3,000 college students from 586 campuses. We've been talking about the growing anti-Semitism on campuses, so I think that they are engaged at all levels across the board. They had every state represented as well.
Agreed. Interesting. This is kind of like the warm-up for tomorrow. 11 o'clock tomorrow, Netanyahu is going to deliver the speech that matters. Look, I believe him when he says this isn't about disrespecting President Obama or the office of President of the United States. I do honestly believe it. I don't think they get along. I don't think they particularly like each other, but that's not what this is about. This speech is about preservation of Israel. Don't forget, Iran has said unequivocally we want to wipe Israel off the face of the map, off the face of the earth. The reason why Democrats and President Obama by default aren't embracing the Bibi Netanyahu visit is because he's going to outline why the Obama strategy in Iran, with Iran, isn't going to work. And what the downfall of it, when I say isn't going to work, fail means Iran gets a nuke, Iran wants to get rid of Israel, they will be a constant threat, thorn in the side to our biggest ally. That's what, and the Obama administration is fearing that with only a couple of weeks left in these negotiations, a couple of meetings this week, in fact, with Iran by John Kerry, it will somehow derail some sort of deal. Can I just point out one more thing? A deal with Iran means that we have inspectors that will go in and inspect centrifuges, right? We'll have international inspectors see what's going on within Iran. We've had that 2 different occasions. And both times when our inspectors or the international inspectors got close to finding highly enriched uranium, when they got close to it, they got thrown out of the country. And then the deals broke down and they had to start over. So why is this one going to be any different? Israel knows it. We know it. About time Obama administration figures it out.
Charles Krauthammer wrote in his column on Friday, I don't have this, I'm going to read this because I didn't get it to the producers early enough. But he said, consider where we began. 6 UN Security Council resolutions demanding an end to Iranian enrichment. Consider what we are now offering. Kimberly, I want you to respond to this. An interim arrangement ending with a sunset clause that allows the mullahs a robust, industrial-strength, internationally sanctioned nuclear program. And he ends his column by saying, history will not be kind. I found that alarming.
It is alarming, and I think he's very serious. He chose his words very carefully. And then when you also look today at the speech and the comments from Bibi Netanyahu, he is making it, I think, very clear that Israel will do whatever it takes to protect itself, and that it is imperative that all leaders of the world understand that Israel will not allow Iran to become nuclear. They cannot survive if they allow that to occur. Does the president get that? Does he understand the severity of the situation? I think a lot of people that are writing about it do, but it's left to be seen.
Well, this morning, Julie, the UN ambassador Samantha Power was sent to AIPAC to sort of greet the crowd and sort of warm up the day, and she was kind of walking back the leaks that have been in the paper already.
She was. You know, this should not be a partisan issue, and I have grave concerns about what this deal could potentially be for the safety and security of Israel and also for the safety and security of the region, because don't forget, if Iran goes nuclear, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, all the Sunni powers who don't want a Shia power getting the bomb will also go nuclear. So, you know, there are Democrats on this side of the aisle who adamantly disagree with Barack Obama. Bob Menendez being one, Chuck Schumer being another. So this, again, is not a partisan issue to me. Again, I have to ask the question, though, what's the alternative? Because the alternative is if we pull out of this negotiation, and I am deathly afraid that the president would rather have a deal on the table. At this point, he's so far gone with wanting a deal that it doesn't matter what kind of deal he's going to get. Right. My concern is, however, if, for example, we all of a sudden take our marbles and go home and say, forget it, no deal, we're out of here, what's going to end up happening? The Iranians are going to continue to spin the centrifuges. It's going to go on and on and on. And so
there is one other alternative.
We could bomb them.
Of course.
Of course, but here's the problem with that.
Israel did that once.
They did in 1981, of course.
And it worked. Well, and it pushed them back 2 decades or 3 decades.
It did.
And maybe it's time to consider that
It did. My only concern with bombing Iran is you're essentially first of all, my understanding is even the a lot of intelligence forces in Israel don't think that's going to be a good solution.
But by the way, I'm not suggesting we just go out arbitrarily, hey, by the way, we're out of this deal and we're going to bomb you. I think you can slap those sanctions back on that we're working. Democrats even admit they were working.
I was going to say there's a middle ground. I mean, it's not just no deal or bombing. The sanctions that we're working, tighten those up a little bit, and also not allow for the sunset clause. I think that was an Iranian demand that we should not agree.
But we have till March. I think it's March 30th is the deadline to get to some sort of framework. And if that framework doesn't happen, then let's
problem is, do you even trust them? You know, at this point, I mean, there are many intelligence reports suggesting that they have a parallel program developing nuclear enrichment, etc. They're showing one, and there's another one in place, like two train tracks.
And if this is such a great deal, why is it being done in secret? It's like whenever anything good is happening, President Obama is really happy to share all the knowledge and leak it. But this deal is more covered up than an ISIS bride, and that's why Netanyahu is so worried, because he doesn't know what's going on and he has most to lose.
Well, he doesn't trust them
because apparently he's leaking the stuff they have been sharing with him. That's the problem. That he's been the leaker in all of this, not necessarily.
Can we talk about the politics of it? Because I want to just show you today how the White House handled a question of whether the president even bothered to watch this speech.
I wondered if the president had a chance to watch Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech to AIPAC, and if you all have a reaction.
I don't believe that he did. The reaction here is that I think it was appropriately characterized in the remarks that were delivered by Ambassador Power.
Will the president watch the speech tomorrow?
I haven't looked at the president's schedule for tomorrow. I doubt that he will spend his whole time watching the speech.
I don't get it. Why do you have to act like you're so disinterested because you're personally offended? I mean, the White House itself has turned this speech into the biggest international foreign policy event. I mean, even this morning in Savannah at the airport, people never look at the monitors, right? Everybody's on their phones. The Netanyahu speech came on. It was live. Everybody in the airport is watching it. They've turned this into the biggest event.
It's like telling a date or somebody that likes you that you have plans when you really don't. It's like they're trying to be so aloof. But it's a philosophical and it's a generational difference. The patriotic defiance of Israel seems so old-fashioned to President Obama. It's like Steak Diane or rotary phones. It's like from another era. And you get the sense that any kind of authority reminds President Obama of something in his past that he doesn't like. He's raised by an ideology that favors the powerless over the powerful, even if the powerful is good and the powerless is evil.
Yeah, well,
makes no sense.
Can I give one more alternative possible reason why I didn't watch it today, probably not going to watch it tomorrow? They don't want to take off Iran. They are so afraid of the Iranians going, wait a minute, why is the president paying attention to Netanyahu?
That's a good point.
You're right. That's who they care about.
That we are more concerned about how that means they have the upper hand. The Iranians have the upper hand in these negotiations.
Can I give you a third alternative or second alternative? As Dana could probably point out, the president doesn't really have time to sit around for an hour and a half and watch a speech. No, but seriously.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure, you guys, but seriously.
He
He
have 30 minutes tomorrow to check out a world leader.
They're the ones
he'll get the top lines. I'm pretty sure he's going to know what's in the speech.
It is this White House who sent Susan Rice, the National Security Advisor, out this weekend to say that Netanyahu's speech is destructive to the most important foreign policy relationship in the world.
Yeah.
I just find that hard to believe then that he wouldn't even bother to find out what he's going to say.
And you know what I find? I'm so embarrassed for him. Shame on you, to the President of the United States, because you are too cool for school. I would flunk you out in the back row of the class. You are not prepared. Grow up. Stop being so petulant. There is too much at stake. I can't even believe he's acting so arrogant, and they're saying, oh, he's going to be too busy. He can't go ahead and watch the speech.
Don't you think he's already seen the speech?
Get over yourself.
Don't you think he's already seen it?
Don't watch the speech.
But
don't have Josh Earnest tell us and the world, no, the president's not going to watch it. Just don't watch it if you don't want to see it. But pretend you're at least interested.
Do you think it's possible that President Obama is just confused and he thinks that the phrase "Great Satan" is a compliment?
I doubt it. But
it might be, as opposed to your average Satan or good Satan. Iran always calls us the Great Satan.
And
it's a compliment.
Israel's little Satan too,
right? The problem is at this summer camp, the president is bunking with Iran and not with Israel.
Since we have about, I think we have 1 minute left. I just want to ask about this one last thing, which is how the media has covered whether these certain Democrats, and there's a list of them who have decided they're not going to go to the speech, that the White House has made the speech so important to the president that now they're putting them in a position of not going to the speech, so they'll have to tell their constituents, no, I didn't go to the Netanyahu speech because I was trying to protect Barack Obama?
Yeah.
I don't get
craziness.
that.
Yeah, well, again, the speech is somehow more dangerous than Iran developing nukes. How did that happen? We live in like a funhouse mirror world.
Wow.
They should go. They should go because at the end of the day, he's representing our greatest ally in the region, if not the world. They should go despite the fact that they feel he disrespected the president. Even if he did disrespect the president, he's still the representative.
And he made a speech today saying that he did not intend disrespect, that he has respect for the office and the president and the administration.
And don't forget, it was the White House where there was a senior administration official that called Netanyahu a chicken.
Say it.
Nope.
Say it.
Not saying it. Chicken poop.
Wow.
You said poop?
You can say that word.
No, you can't.
You can't?
No, you'll be in trouble.
You really went out on an edge on the left there.
All right, we're going to move on. The ISIS threat.